As we already know, it was widely reported that Meghan and Harry were chased by the paparazzi in a near-catastrophic car chase. But the images that have been released by the press are raising some pretty interesting questions about whether or not the two of them actually respect the law in New York. And this incident seems to be causing the two of them to have a headache with their fake PR antics. Andrew Cuomo, who is the governor of New York, signed legislation that required all motor vehicle passengers over the age of 16 to wear seatbelts, including anybody sitting in a seat behind the driver and the front passenger, and the law went into effect back on November 1st of 2020. Now, considering that Harry's still all torn up over how his mother passed away, I would assume they would always be wearing seatbelts, right? And especially because it is the law in New York. Obviously, there's not a lot of respect from the two of them for the rules of the city, especially considering that they were scared of this catastrophic car crash. Must be nice to be above the law, right? And then spend so much of one's own time and energy filing lawsuits against other people who have supposedly broken laws. Angela of Cincinnati, Ohio, said that the local police seemed bemused by the whole incident. Harry was taking photographs, Meghan was smiling and waving, and Mother was playing on her phone. Clearly, attacking the British royal family isn't producing enough money, and now the American paparazzi are in the firing line. Diana passed away because her driver was drunk, and apparently he was high on drugs too. And the fact is, she chose not to wear her seatbelt. If the driver had not been drinking, Diana would probably still be alive today. Why was Harry not wearing a seatbelt though? Well, I guess because he loves to whine, but he's not very good at learning from anybody's mistakes, including his own. Obviously, Harry and Meghan just want to be professional victims. This near-catastrophic car chase story is just another example of the disinformation that comes from the two of them. And I'm saying disinformation instead of misinformation, because what they're doing is distorting the truth. They're not lying outright, but they have learned how to carefully twist things to make themselves look like the victims. It was their spokesperson who tried to say that it was a 2-hour high-speed car chase through the streets of New York City. I mean, seriously, has anybody out there tried to race at high speeds through a city that's built so densely like New York for an extended period of time? I mean, 2 hours, yeah, right. I'm guessing the entire affair lasted 2 hours, and the actual car travel was perhaps 10 minutes. I would assume they spent most of that 2 hours sheltering in place at the police station. They were waiting for things to clear up. And they were the ones who chose to take a taxi instead of the SUV to obscure their travel, but they ended up being blocked by a garbage truck. I'm sure that time stuck behind the garbage truck is included in this 2-hour story. Maybe there was a small part of this 2-hour experience that was actually high speed, but I don't know, I'm not convinced. Near catastrophic though? Oh, absolutely not. I don't believe that for a second. I guess technically driving could always end up in a catastrophe, but it's very unlikely. Or perhaps it was a catastrophe because they were blocked by the garbage truck. And the cab driver has also come out and told his side of the story, and the way they were interacting with him didn't show that they were in any kind of stress. Harry gave him $50 and wished him well. To me, it just sounds like PR spin from somebody who does not know what they're doing. For what reason, though, I'm not sure. Meghan does love to use hyperbole, though, so maybe that's all this is. She just can't help herself. But they have got to let this one go. I mean, this is such a fail when it comes to their PR. They did not make themselves look good. And I would guess that the media people in New York are already using FOIA to get the CCTV footage from the traffic cameras and the pod cameras that are located all over the place. I just cannot understand how Meghan and Harry could be so stupid. I mean, they picked the absolute worst city to pull this little stunt in. Stoplights are timed. The speed limit is 25 miles an hour. And the thing is, you can barely even hit that speed limit. New Yorkers also have no time for people who visit the city and use their resources and create a bunch of chaos. Another thing is, there are actual important people in New York. There are diplomats. The UN is located in New York. How do Meghan and Harry think they can compete with all those people? Security for the UN is very intense. For those two, though, no, of course not. Why would it be? I am also disgusted with the way that Harry keeps on milking his poor mother's passing. He should really learn from her mistake. After what she went through, Harry should never enter a vehicle without putting his seatbelt on. It has been universally hypothesized that if Diana had just been wearing her seatbelt, then she may have had a very good chance of surviving. Why would Harry want to put himself in that exact same situation if he was so traumatized by it? Now, I'll be the first to admit that if I'm in the back of a taxi in New York, I usually don't wear my seatbelt, because the truth is there are people walking on the sidewalk faster than I'm being driven, and they were not going a long way either. So if this ridiculous scenario really lasted 2 hours, then it is part of their videoed victim film that they're making for Netflix. Because the near-catastrophic chase simply did not occur, and it couldn't have happened in New York. The fact is, the city is way too dense. Even in Manhattan, there are traffic lights every 500 yards or so. And there are also no photos from members of the public that could have filmed this near-catastrophic car chase, because it never happened. And it's kind of sad, actually, that the two of them have told so many lies over the past 5 years, and those lies have mostly gone unchallenged. So I guess this is a habit. They thought they were going to get away with this too. And what I find so unbelievable about this fake chase is that whoever planned this to get headlines did not seem able to research the city and its layout. They just released the story without checking to see whether it was even believable, much like they do with all their other puff pieces. But see, they made a mistake in this situation that made it very different from all their other lies, and I'm going to tell you what it was. See, their mistake was that they basically went after New York City itself. That was not a smart move. It could be compared to London in the UK, but it is busier and it is bigger. It's often described as the city that never sleeps, and let me tell you, New Yorkers have no tolerance for BS and they can smell it a mile away. For starters, there is not enough space in the city for a high-speed car chase. And another thing is that NYPD would never have allowed that to happen. Now, there was some pretty erratic driving by one of Harry and Meghan's security people in an SUV. It was blocking off a road at a speed, which the police did stop him from trying to continue this very unnecessary maneuver. I'm convinced that Meghan cooked up this little scheme because she was so upset that she wasn't in the news for the coronation. She was feeling starved for attention. She was desperate. But you know what? Her little plan backfired because the NYPD, the Black Grid, and the taxi driver who drove them to their destination, and even the mayor of New York have all come out in their various roles and said that this little story never happened. I love that taxi driver too for coming out and being so honest. Let's also remember that the mayor and the NYPD, they've got a job to do. They have to protect all citizens, not just Harry and Meghan. They have no incentive to lie. I'm sure they're telling the truth about everything. Harry and Meghan's version of events, though, is a big fat lie. And let's not forget about the paparazzi. Well, they've got a business to run, and they are famous all over the country. And Meghan uses the paparazzi when she wants attention. So Black Grid is not going to let anybody, and that includes the son of a king, ruin their business through a bunch of lies. Harry has never understood what it's like to work 12 or more hours trying to support a family or himself. He doesn't understand anything about anything. Up until this point, he has always had everything just handed to him on a silver platter. Does anybody believe that Black Grid, made up of talented photographers that work so hard, and the business itself, that has been built by hard work from normal members of the public, is going to let Harry, this idiotic king's son, destroy it through his horrible lies? Certainly not. A commentator remarked, next time they should try Los Angeles for a faux high-speed chase, and no doubt they will buckle up this time, having read the comments. I wonder if the sugars will say these images are photoshopped, like my post is from the gutter press. And you, what do you think about Harry and Meghan? Please tell me your opinion below in the comments. If you think my video is helpful, don't be afraid to like and share it with your friends and relatives who would enjoy it too. And please don't forget to subscribe